Hi guys, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Manish. Indeed, we are waiting for a few more participants. That's the reason we are starting a bit late, but let me continue. Okay, so before I move on, I hope you guys received the instruction files yesterday. Have you guys completed the installation process? Does anyone have any questions or any issues? Did you guys get a chance to go through the files and were you able to complete the installation, guys?
Actually, I didn't join yesterday. Today
Oh,
is my first day,
today is
so
your first session. Okay,
yes.
no problem. How about others, guys? Is it your first session or did you attend yesterday? If you're not able to speak, can you please put it in the chat? So let me share my screen, guys. Can anybody please confirm? Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So, Manish, I just quick recap what we discussed yesterday. So, this is somebody is saying something. Yes, thank you, Manoj. Let me come here. So we tried understanding the importance of SQL, and first we started the session with the difference between Excel and SQL. Because most of the people, what they do is when they start initially working with Excel, slowly, once they are settled in reporting roles or analytics roles, they move to SQL. So I asked a question yesterday that why we should use SQL. Is it really important to learn SQL? And what is the difference between Excel and SQL? So I started from here. Yeah. Then we talked about two important points. That is, whenever you want to store data, data can be stored in multiple ways. Even you can store your data by writing on a paper, or you can store the same data even in the files like Excel or Word. That's very simple way of storing the data. But the problem is we are not worried about only the data storage. We need to consider one more aspect here, that is retrieval. Once we are done with retrieval portion, we need to be very careful about data security. Let me put it in very simple words. So if there is some sensitive information, even if somebody gets access to that, yeah, for example, let's say I, by mistake, I sent one Excel file to an unauthorized person. So if they want to open the file, if there is a mechanism saying like, if the moment somebody tries to open the file, if it prompts for a password, then at least you can prevent the misuse of the file. But if you don't have any certain mechanism like that, then it will be really difficult. People will definitely misuse the information. So that's the reason what we are doing here. Though we have Excel and a lot of other ways to store the data, we are trying to store the data in a systematic manner. That's where we are using one specific concept here called tables. So we are trying to store the entire data in a table format, and these tables, yeah, will be stored in databases, and these databases will be stored in server. So that's what we discussed here. Now, if somebody is trying to access the data in a table, first they need to connect to the server. To connect to the server, they need to use some authentication, a username and a password. Then from there, though there are 4 or 5 databases, we can control here where one person can access one database, or we can grant access to one particular user to 2 databases, something like that. So you can keep some restrictions here. And when it comes to table level, even in the database, you can give access to the base table, or you can create some virtual table and you can give access only to the virtual tables. So all these things are not possible with Excel. That is the reason what we are trying to do. We are trying to work with servers. To work with servers, we need a specific language. That language we discussed yesterday, that's nothing but SQL. So using SQL, guys, we are going to work with the servers. I think pretty much this is what we discussed yesterday. Yeah, if I put it in very simple words. Does anyone have any questions here? Can I move on with the today's session, guys?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Now, let's come here. So, our team shared 2 files yesterday, guys. Let me quickly show you the files here. So one is, this is the file which I'm referring, guys. SQL Server setup. Yeah. Now, in the learning process, what we need to do is, we need to have a server and we need to have read and write access to the server. So generally, no company or any other organization, they will not give access to their server. So that's the reason what we are doing for learning purpose. We are going to create our own server. So we will download a server application from Microsoft. We call that as SQL Server. The moment you download this SQL Server application from Microsoft, what we need to do is we need to complete the installation process, guys. Basically, we are trying to set up this server in our local machine. Yeah, this is the reason yesterday I mentioned, guys, if you want to install the server, then you need to be a bit cautious with the system configuration. Yesterday I mentioned it. I'm really not sure how many of you remember this. If you want to install the server, make sure that you have minimum 4 GB RAM. If you have 8 GB or 16 GB, that's quite good, but at least we should have 4 GB RAM. Once we are done with this, make sure that you are accessing through SSD. By any chance, if you have HDD, guys, please don't use it. It's my request. The reason why, the system performance will be very, very low if you use HDD laptop. So make sure that you migrate to SSD. Then next one, try to have the latest processors, guys. Maybe i3 latest generation, or i5 or i7, or maybe something like Ryzen. So something like this, make sure that you are using the latest processor. These are the system requirements, guys. So once we meet these system requirements, then you can complete the installation process of SQL Server. So once you complete the SQL Server installation, then we need to install one more application. Anybody remember what is the next application we need to install, guys? Yesterday we discussed. Okay. Yeah, thank you for the guess. We call that as SSMS. Yeah. So SSMS stands for SQL Server Management Studio. And we learned why we should use it. Anybody remember why we should use SSMS, guys? If I want to write a code, can I write my code directly in the SQL Server? Is it possible to write my code directly in the SQL Server? Anybody has idea? No, guys, it's not possible to write directly the code in the server. So we need specific interface here. So now what we are going to use, what we are going to do is, we are going to use a separate interface here. We call that as IDE, which stands for Integrated Development Environment. Using this IDE, we will write our code. Once we write the code or query or programming, whatever it is, that will be executed and the instructions will be passed to the machine. So when it is passed to the machine, that will be converted to machine language. then your machine will respond to your query or code or program. So it performs the activity, then the output will be populated in reverse map. So now, if you ask me who is going to do the conversion from English to machine language, so your IDE will take that activity, guys. That is the reason to write our SQL code, we are going to use one specific interface here that is called SQL Server Management Studio. This is what we are going to use, guys. Yeah, let me take a pause here. Does anyone have any question here? Can I move on? So we provided both the installation files, guys. One is SQL Server and SQL Server client setup. Yeah, this is pretty old document, guys, but most of the instructions are same. So if you follow these instructions, then you can complete the installation process. Now, I was asking, like, did anyone run into any issue? Sorry, Manoj, I didn't get you. What do you mean by no? Is something like you're not done with the installation process? Are you referring to installation process? Yeah. In case you guys haven't done with the installation process, guys, I request everyone to finish this during the weekend, guys, because, okay, no problem. So complete this installation process during the weekend because we will not have session on Saturday and Sunday. Sessions are from Monday to Friday only. So you'll get some time. So I request everyone to complete the installation process, guys. Once you are done with the installation process, we need to do a few admin activities here. For today, let me complete those admin activities, guys. Yeah, the first thing. Yeah, somebody saying something? Okay, so let's come here. Once the installation process is completed, guys, please come to the search bar on your taskbar. Once you are here, please search for configuration manager. The moment you say configuration, you will be able to see this SQL Server 2022 configuration manager. Now, what we have done here, so we tried installing the SQL Server. So here the instructions were given for 2017 version, but the moment you click on it, let me come here. Yep. Let me try to download this. You can see this here. Install SQL Server 2022 on Windows, Linux, and Docker containers. So you can complete the installation process. Now, the current version, what we are using is 2022, SQL Server 2022. So you need to install this developer version, guys. Please click on the download now, and the setup file will be downloaded, and you can complete the installation process. So once you are done with this, I was explaining like, please come to the configuration manager. If you come to SQL Server 2022 configuration manager, guys, you can find this application. Once you are here, click on this. So it will ask for a confirmation, guys. So please say yes. If you get a management console prompt, please say yes. Once the installation is completed, please come to the screen, guys. When you are on the screen, so please come to, so on left-hand side, you see the Object Explorer. So here, if you come to one particular section here called SQL Server Services, under this, you will be able to see three services, guys. One is MS SQL Server, second one is browser, and third one is agent. Generally, what happens? The start mode for these three applications will be either default or automatic. Sorry, let me come here. Yeah, you can say this automatic, disabled, and manual. We will have three start modes, guys. So by any chance, if you see the start mode as disabled or automatic, what we need to do is please change this to manual. How do we do this, guys? For example, let me come to one instance here that is called browser. The moment I select browser, and if I go with double click on it, yeah, then you need to come to a particular section here called service. Once you are here, you see the start mode. If you click on the start mode, you will be able to see the options here, guys. So this is what I was explaining. If you have like automatic or disabled, please select manual and click on apply. So you need to repeat the same activity for these three. Then once we are done with this, you can come to the state. So by default, the state will be stopped, guys. Yeah. My request to everyone, whenever you are trying to use SQL Server, then what you do is you select the instance, make a right click and start that particular service. In case you are not using it, don't start the service, guys. What happens here, you are trying to install server on your laptop, guys. In this case, what happens? A lot of load will be created on your machine. The reason why whenever we want to use servers, we use high configuration system. But our systems are not very high configuration systems. So that is the reason here what we are trying to do is whenever we require, we are starting these services. Else, remaining time, we will keep it in stop mode. If you don't do this activity, then what happens, guys? So for example, let's say I'm working with Excel. I'm not working with SQL Server. So if you keep this running, though you are using Excel, this server will be running in the backend. So because of that, what happens? A lot of heat will be generated and your machine. Yeah. So you will have issues with your machine, guys. To control that, now what we are trying to do is we are trying to keep this state as stopped. So this is the first activity what we need to do during our sessions, guys. In case if you are trying to use SQL Server, then first come to the search bar and search for Configuration Manager. Once you are in the Configuration Manager, first thing what you will do is come to MS SQL Server, select this instance, make a right click and start the server. This is like everyday activity we need to do, guys. So if you love your laptop, then please do this activity. Else you don't have to do it, guys. So now I'm done with this. Then we need to do one more admin activity. That is, if you come to the network configuration here, let me expand the network configuration. Under the network configuration, you see protocols, guys. There are three protocols here. One is called shared memory. Second one is named pipes. And third one is TCP/IP. So make sure these three protocols are enabled. Yeah, here TCP or IP. Anybody has idea what is the full form of TCP or IP, guys? Does anyone remember the full form of IP? At least can I have a guess?
Access restrictions.
Access restriction. Okay. Yeah, let me come here, guys. IP stands for Internet Protocol. Generally, we use this a lot. Whoever is using internet, then definitely you would be familiar with IP address, guys. So when I say IP, it stands for Internet Protocol. Then TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol. Yeah, we are using certain protocols to complete our transactions here. That's where we are using them. So here, make sure that whatever the protocols we have here, make them enabled here. Okay, so these are the two things which we need to do, guys, once you complete the installation process. The first thing is come to the SQL Server services and try to keep the start mode as manual. And the state here, if required, run run it, start the server. In case you are not using it, then stop the server. How do we do this? We select the particular instance here. Let's go with the right click. Then you see the properties here. This is one way. The other way, if you go with the double click here, yeah, you can see this here. The service status, now it is being done. So you have the complete properties of SSM server here, guys. From here also, you can change it. You can stop, you can start. So we have all the options here. Am I clear with these 2 points, guys? Does anyone have any questions? Everybody is very silent. Can I assume we don't have any questions? Set up the server here, guys. Now let me go to the second application here, where we can find SSMS. The same thing here. If you come to the search bar, and if you are a very hardworking person, then you can write the entire thing like SQL Server Management Studio. Yeah, you can write entire. This will be open, guys. You can see this here, SQL Server Management Studio 20. So now let me click on this. The moment I click on this app, it takes some time. Please be a little patient. Yeah. Now, once I'm here, this is the user interface, what we get for SSMS. So now let me talk about this. Here, the first section, what you see is login. Now here, we are trying to use a particular server type, guys. Now, if you expand the server type, so here you will be able to see various server types here. The first one is database engine, analysis services, reporting services, integration services, then Azure SSIS integration runtime. Now, out of this, what we are trying to use is we discussed in yesterday's session that we are going to work with databases. So that's where what I'm going to do is let me use database engine, guys. So for this session, we are going to work with database engine. Then the server name. So here it will be your system name, guys. You don't have to manually generate it. The moment you complete the installation process, if you have a custom name for your laptop or desktop, then that same name will be used for your for your server. In case you don't have any custom name for your system, then a default name will be generated when during the installation process. Now, this is the default name generated for the server. So this is a server name, what I'm using here. Then authentication, this is nothing but the password. So either you can use Windows authentication or you can use SQL Server authentication. If I go with Windows authentication, whatever the credentials we have to log into your system or your 365 account, the same credentials can be used here. But every time it is not possible, guys. The reason why, let's imagine there is a finance team. And in finance team, let's imagine there are 4 analysts. Now, everybody wants to use the server here. In that case, generally what happens, guys, for the entire team, only one set of credentials will be provided. Now, how do we do that? The moment you select SQL Server Authentication, you can see this here. It is asking for login and password. The moment you give your login ID and the password, then you can get into the data. So now, for time being, now what I'm doing here, guys, as I'm the developer, so let me click on Windows Authentication. Then let's come here. Encryption, I'm trying to keep it as mandate. It's advisable to keep it as mandate, guys. We will discuss what is this optional and SQL Server 2022 Azure SQL. So we will discuss this encryption in the later session. But right now, I'm keeping this as mandatory. Then you see one option here, guys, Trust Server Certificate. Make sure you check this box, that is Trust Server Certificate. So once you're done with all these modifications, if you click on Connect, then you will be connected to the server through SSMS window. So this is my SSMS window. Through this SSMS window, I'm trying to work with server. Any questions? Can I move on?
No.
No. Okay. Let me repeat this again, guys. I just close it. Before you open SSMS, let me show you this, guys. SSMS. We need to do one more step. So please do that. That is, you need to go to Configuration Manager. So just example sake, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my server. Then I will try to connect to my server using the SSMS interface. Even I'll show you that first. Now let me come to MS SQL Server and I stop the server. Now you can see this server, browser, agent, nothing is running. Everything is in stop mode. Now let me go to SSMS and let me try to open this, guys. Yeah, so we were discussing this. Now here we are not changing any default settings, guys. So here, now let me click on connect. If I click on connect, you can see this here, it is taking some time. Earlier, it was connected to server very quick, but now it is taking some time. Please wait for a minute because we'll get a pop-up here. We will read that pop-up, then we will move on to the next topic here. You can see this, it is saying that cannot connect to this server, additional information. A network related or instance specific error occurred while establishing a connection to SQL Server. So, for example, let's say I want to enter a room. If the room is not open, how can I enter into the room? The same thing is happening here, guys. So now what I will do, I come to this configuration manager. Now let's make a right click and let me start the server. Now the server is running. Once the server is running, now let me switch back to the SSMS interface here. Now let me try again. I just click on connect here. Then you are able to connect to SSMS interface here. Are we good? Any questions here? Yeah, then let me explain this, guys. If you observe the SSMS interface here, user interface, it looks pretty similar to Excel. Again, we have some tabs here, like, yeah, file tab, edit, view, tools, window. All these are different tabs. Each tab contains a lot of options here. Then on the left-hand side, so here, we have Object Explorer, wherein using this Object Explorer, you can work with different objects. The first object what we have here is, you can see this here, SQL Server 16. So this is what the first object is. And the moment you complete the installation process of SSMS and SQL Server, so here directly it will be connected to your server. And now you are able to see the server here. And this server contains different objects like databases, security, server objects, application. Like this, we have so many objects. Now, from there, what I'm doing, let me expand databases key here. If I expand databases key, then I will be able to see all the databases what I have in the server. Here, I created so many custom databases here. You can clearly see this. Wherever you have this cubicle icon or a cylinder icon, that will be considered as database servers. Now, from here, what I'm doing is, let me get into one particular database. For example, let's say restaurant. If I get into restaurant database, again, we have multiple objects in restaurant database, like database diagrams, tables, views, XML resources. Now, if you are in database, then the next option what we care about is, we will focus on tables. So during our sessions, what we are going to do, guys, we will learn how to create a table, how to modify the table, and how to delete the table. And by using the existing data, we will learn how to do consolidations. Yeah, this is what we are trying to do in this course, guys. Any questions do we have? Everybody is very silent. Can I assume as we don't have any questions?
Yeah, no problem.
No questions, sir? Yeah, then we are sorry. We will stop it here for today, guys. I request everyone to complete the installation process. Manish, I guess. Manish, by any chance, you don't have the installation file, sir?
I guess I received the files yesterday itself,
Okay,
but yesterday I did not join, so I'll go through the yesterday's class and I'll install.
okay. So please complete the installation process, sir. So once we are done with this, we will get into the all technical concepts from Monday.
Okay, sure.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. If you have any questions, please post it in the group. We don't have any further questions. I'll stop it here for today. Thank you, guys. We'll meet on Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.